Welcome to Home Tiny Lab. My name is Christoph. In this video we are going to install Pop! OS on Xen server. We are using XCP-ng and Xen Orchestra to manage our environment. Once we have installed our Pop! OS workstation, I will show how you can prepare it to remove the desktop into it from a Windows 10 workstation. So let's go over to the screen view. So here I am connected to Xen Orchestra. But first of all, we have to download a good version that we want to use on our Xen server host to install. So when you are going to the Pop! OS homepage, you have a big download button completely at the right. When we click on it, here you can make a selection. But I'm going to use the long-term version, and then you click on download. In my case, because I don't have an NVIDIA card in my XCP-ng host, and I don't have a processor that can pass through the graphics hardware, I choose here download 20.10. But it's 20.4 that I want to have. So when it's yellow, it's selected. So I've already downloaded it and set it on my SMB share that I use for that I use to put my ISOs on to install. But I will show it. So you have to click on this. So let's leave this page. Let's open a file explorer. Let's go to my NAS. And here you have my share that I use also in my XCP-ng server. And you see that I have already copied over the Pop! OS image. So let's close this. And now let's log in into Xen Orchestra. So for people who are interested in how to configure Xen Orchestra and an XCP-ng host, and to start setting up your ISO library and to install your first virtual machine, I've already made some videos about this, so you can look in my channel and my playlist that speaks about XCP-ng to know more about this. So if you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe and to ring the bell if you want to be notified of other new videos. Okay, wrong passwords. Let's type it over. Oops, again. Okay. So I'm logged in into my Xen Orchestra. And we are going to create a new virtual machine. So we click here on new. I'm going to select our pool. Our template, it's based on Ubuntu, like we have downloaded, and it is the long-term version 20.04. So let's choose this. We will give it the name Pop YouTube. And description YouTube demo. Virtual CPUs, I am using an i3, so dual core system with 4 threads. I am selecting the 4 threads, 2 gig to use, it's the bare minimum. Default behavior, and then selecting the Pop! OS ISO, here it is, selected. Mac auto-generated pool white network associated, local storage, let's call it also Pop YouTube, created by XO, and we will give it 20 gigabytes. If you want that it boots automatically when you are restarting your XCP-ng host, I think that you can define it here. No. Here, auto power on. And create. So starting up, let's go to the console mode. So we have downloaded Pop! OS, put it in our ISO library. Something that can happen when you put something in your ISO library or in your SMB share is that it's not showing up immediately. The only thing that you have to do is go to your host. Going to storage, choose your VM ISO, going to disks, and rescan all disks, and then Pop! OS will show in your drop-down video when you are creating a virtual machine. Let's go back to our virtual machine console. Okay, let's minimize this. Here we have to select our language. Okay, English. Let's take United Kingdom or leave it at United States. It's like you wish. Select. Then keyboard layout. For me, it's a Belgian layout. So I have to go up. And I'll leave it to default. Let's do a clean install. Select our Xen virtual block device and erase and install. If you're installing Pop! OS on a laptop, bare metal laptop or desktop, then I would certainly use encrypt, so choose a password, but because I'm installing here in a virtual machine and because it's a demo, I will choose don't encrypt. Partitioning now the virtual drive, extracting the files. Okay, file extraction is done. Configuring the system. Okay, configuration is done. And I want to continue the setup, so I will restart the device. So you click on Restore Device button. Welcome screen. Let's click on Next. So for typing, Belgium is selected. Okay, we click on Next. Location services, they can stay on. next. So Brussels, Belgium is selected as my time zone, Central Europe time, okay. It's good for me, so next. I'm not going to connect to online accounts because it's only a workstation to manage my my VMs from. So skip. Okay, for logging, so we will enter our name like I usually do for my demos. Then a password. Always give a strong password. Don't be cheap. So the passwords are corresponding, so I'm clicking on next. So it's all done. We can now start using Pop! OS. Let's click on this. And Pop! OS is started up. So there is one thing that we have to do always when we have just installed a fresh virtual machine. When you are going to general, you see that you don't have the IP4 record that's showing up. And for this we have to install the Xen tools. If you go to stats also, the memory is at 0. So let's go back to console. Let's minimize this again. And let's open a terminal. Let's take it all screen. And let's see if everything is up to date on the system. There are packages that can be upgraded. Okay, Pop! OS also has detected something, so we will click on this and use the tools that Pop! OS gives us. So here we see the packages that are ready for update, so we will update them, update all. You have to give our passwords like we would do for using sudo. And downloading again the packages, then extracting and installing them. Extensions were very fast. Now it's Firefox that's been downloaded. And that's done. So let's close this box and let's check if there is really nothing left to update. Okay, that's what we wanted to see. And now we have to install the, let's clear the screen, sudo apt install and like it's the same as for installing for Ubuntu. So XA guest and utilities and enter. And let's continue installing the necessary packages to use the remote desktop from Windows. Let's see, it's sudo again. Install xrdp, so X remote desktop protocol program. I will have to Google it to know the exact description. Okay, yes. I also wanted to boot up when I'm restarting Pop! OS. So sudo systemctl enable now xrdp. Okay. I'm going to test this by rebooting the virtual machine. Okay, let's try a login to be certain. Okay, we can log in. And let's log off. Log out. Log out. Okay. And let's look to general. Here we have the IP address. Something that we need to remote desktop into it. So let's test this. So the remote desktop connection is opened. Okay. You can copy by clicking here. Copy to clipboard. Open again the remote desktop. And pasting into it. Let's select this and paste. Let's connect. Now don't ask me again for connecting to this computer. Yes. And now we can log in. So the same as logging into PopOS. Okay. Normally also a lock screen will show up. Okay. Same password. And we are logged in. So now from your Windows environment, you can log into your desktop. And now you can learn working with a Linux desktop environment. It's also easier to work in your other Unix or Linux environments this way. So something that's perhaps easier to use is to set the font a little bit bigger. Select. Okay. You can open two sessions, two screens. Cannot explain why I had this pop-up coming up. Now, for example, I want to log in into my XCP-ng host. Except, no, I don't have that my DNS. I have to do it with IP. 68.0, and it was 30. That's the IP address of my XCP-ng host. Okay, yes. That's not correct. It's the user is root normally that I would have to. So I'm going out of it. And you have to add your user in front of your IP with the @ sign. Then give the password of your XCP-ng host, the correct one. Okay, that's clear. So here you are logged in your XCP-ng host. Could also here open a session and do a login to my Truna server. Because it's Christoph already that I'm used, I can leave it to that and use the IP. Yes, logging in. Okay. So you can open multiple sessions and easily cut and paste between them. It makes management a little bit easier. So from here on, closing the windows. So if you're interested in content like this, or if you want to know a little bit more about installing desktop environments in XCP-ng, or other things about RunaScore, don't forget to leave a comment or to subscribe. If you like videos like this, a thumbs up would be nice. And otherwise, there is always the other one also. Thank you for watching.